Hi everyone, thanks for joining me here on your mats today. I hope that was nice and clear on the camera. So, if you have any injuries or illnesses that you're concerned about, please speak to your GP before taking part in this video. You're welcome to send me a message and I'll try and help you as much as I can. So, we're going to start in our easy pose, which is cross-legged. I'm sitting on a block, you're welcome to do that, or a book or a cushion. It might help you just sit a little bit taller. If you've got a problem with your knees, you could place blankets or cushions under them. If that's really uncomfortable, then you can sit with your legs out straight. Just find a position that's comfortable for you to sit in to start. Yoga's all about being comfortable. I don't want any pain, so if anything doesn't feel right, please do come out of it. So, today we're going to be looking on our hips. It's really important to get that movement and stretch in our hips and our hip flexors and all around that area. It will help with any lower back problems, any movements, great. And we hold a lot of emotions in our hips, so it's good to stretch them out and let those emotions out. You might think, what on earth is she on about? You might think, oh, I finished this class and I feel emotional, and that's great. Whatever works, that's fine. So to start with, we're going to bring our hands into prayer. We're going to lift those elbows, roll those shoulders down and back, sitting up nice and tall. You can bring your gaze down to the floor, or even close your eyes if you're comfortable. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. You might inhale and count 4 to 5. You might exhale and count maybe to 4 or 5. Just slowing that breathing down. And I'm going to start our class with a positivity pledge. So, if these words mean something to you, that's great. If they don't, just let them go. That's fine too. I shall no longer allow negative thoughts or feelings to drain me of my energy. Instead, I shall focus on all of the good that is in my life. I will think it, feel it, and speak it. By doing so, I will send out vibes of positive energy into the world, and shall be grateful for all of the wonderful things this will attract into my life. Some lovely deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can open those eyes. Sitting nice and tall. Lovely. Right, we're going to start with some warming up mobility movements. I always like to start with my neck. So if you want to watch me first, I'm going to turn my head to the right. I'm going to bring my chin down to my chest and slowly roll it over to the left in like a little semicircle, and then rolling back the other way. So if you'd like to join me, we'll do a couple of rolls from side to side. Really nice slow movements, warming up that neck. You never want to move too quickly. Really looking after that neck. You could still be focusing on your breathing. Nice slow breaths. Just do 2 more for me. When you're ready, slowly facing back to the front. Lovely. And we're going to come down to our wrists. So we're going to circle one way. We're going to be putting some weight onto those wrists and arms, so we want to make sure they're nice and warm. And then circling the other way. And we've got our shoulders as well, so we're just going to roll backwards. If you're anything like me, you'll be crunching away like Rice Krispies, as I always say. And then roll forwards. Warming up those shoulders. We hold a lot of tension here, sitting in front of our computers and phones. Just let it go. Lovely. So now we're going to do our hips. So I'm going to turn on my mat this way. You're welcome to do that as well. I'm still going to sit on my block. I actually find sitting tall with my legs out in front a bit harder. So see how you find it. You might want a block, a book, a cushion. You might be fine on your mat. That's great. So we're going to bring in one knee, get a nice hug, and then we're just going to do some circles into our hip there. Circling around, warming it up. You can try and make sure your straight leg out, the foot is still flexed. So that leg's working a little bit, and circle the other way. And when you're done, taking that leg out straight, bringing the other one in, sitting up nice and tall still, and circle into that hip. And then then circling the other way. Just warming up there a little bit. Wonderful. Take that leg out. And now we're going to do our ankles. So circling our ankles. Nice and easy there. And circling the other way. And then flexing those feet. Point your toes, flex your feet. Point the toes, flex the feet. Just getting some nice movement in and out. Warming up those legs and ankles and feet. Give them a bit of a shake there. Wonderful. So now we're going to do our Lord of the Fishes pose. So there's a couple of steps to this. So just go where suits you, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to start by bringing one knee in again. Bringing my hands onto that knee. So this is, I've brought my right leg in and I'm going to sit up nice and tall. So this is our first stage of the posture. So at any point you think, not sure about this, we come back to this stage, that's absolutely fine. Just sitting up nice and tall, breathing there. If you like to go the next step, leaving your left hand on your right knee, you're going to take your right hand behind you, sitting up nice and tall, take a nice big inhale, and as you exhale you're going to twist towards that back arm. Just go as far as comfortable. You might find that you can then turn your head to look over that right shoulder. And breathe. If you'd like another challenge, you're going to take your left hand off that foot. You can circle it up around into the sky, bringing that left elbow to right knee and your palm facing away. Just helps you twist that little bit further. Making sure your straight leg out in front is still flexing, flexing that foot. Sitting tall, making sure the shoulders aren't up at your ears. One more breath for me. And circle slowly back to the front. So we're going to swap legs, taking my right leg back out straight, left leg coming in, making sure you're sitting up nice and tall still. Both hands can sit on this front bent knee. Sit there nice and tall, deep breaths. If you'd like to add the twist, leaving that right hand on the left knee, left hand towards the back, slowly one vertebrae at a time, turning towards that back arm. Still engaging that straight leg, bringing the shoulders away from ears. If you want to bring in the other arm, you're circling it up, right elbow to left knee, palm facing away from the body. Take 2 more breaths. Getting a nice twist in the spine, a little bit of a stretch in those legs and hips. When you're ready, slowly coming back to the front. Wonderful. So we're going to get ready into our tabletop. So move in any blocks or anything that's on your mat that's going to get in the way. And we're going to come onto all fours. So spreading those fingers nice and wide. The wrists and hands are going to be underneath the shoulders and your knees are going to be under your hips. You want your legs hip width apart, so the best way to do that is to bring your 2 fists together and just put them in between your knees. That's with the right width you want. If you've got any problems with your knees, like arthritis, or you just struggle putting weight on them, you can put a blanket or a cushion under there. If the same goes for your wrists, you could roll your mat and put your wrists on the folded mat, maybe a cushion, and it does help perhaps walk those hands forward slightly. So we're going to start with our cat-cows. So if you want to watch me first, if you've never done that before, spreading those fingers, making sure you're nice and comfy, weights evenly on your hands and your knees, you're not leaning on one too much. We're going to round our back and then arch it and look forwards. So you're going to inhale round and exhale look forwards. So if you want to join in there with me, rounding and arching. This is just warming up our spine that little bit more, getting some movement. In the postures that are moving, it tends to get your body a little bit warmer, gets that energy flowing, the heat flowing around your body. going to be warming up our shoulders and our hips as well. Absolutely lovely, well done. Just do 2 more for me. And when you're ready, coming back into that flat back tabletop position. So we're going to start with a low lunge now, really start working into the hips. So if you want to bring your right foot to your front legs, your hands even, sorry. If that's difficult, you can use your hands to pull that leg through. If you're really struggling to reach the floor, if you've got blocks or books, you could lean on those with your hands like that. So you want your foot and ankle under that knee. You want a nice right angle here. You can walk that back leg back a little bit more and you'll get a really nice stretch in that front hip flexor of that leg. So if this is enough for you, you're going to stay here, looking forwards, rolling those shoulders down and back so you're not shrugging, and you can stay there, breathe. That's a lovely stretch. If you'd like to go a bit further, you can walk those hands up onto your knees. You might find you have to wiggle around a bit, get in the right posture, still having that right angle, ankle under knee. I don't really want you to be arching your back in this position. We're not focusing so much on our back today. We're thinking about these hips, making sure they're facing forwards, parallel, little eyes facing forwards. If you'd like to take it a bit further, maybe work that balance a little bit more. Going to inhale and walk those arms up to the sky. Fingers facing and palms facing each other. Hopefully feeling a nice stretch in those hips now. Squeeze that belly. Use that core to help you up straight and tall. 2 more breaths there. And when you're ready, bringing those hands back onto the knee, back onto the floor. Now we're going to look at our lizard. So you're welcome to still stay here. And if you'd like to do a lizard, we're going to bring our hands inside of our knee this time. So before we had one either side of the foot, now they're both going to be inside. You can still use your blocks here again. And you're going to walk those forearms down to the floor. I find I can actually only get one forearm down. Even with the block, it's still a bit of a struggle. But whatever works for you, remember you can come back up at any point. Just breathe in there, nice deep stretch into those hips. You might be able to push this knee out slightly. If you find your breathing is struggling, perhaps that means you're struggling and you need to come out of it slightly, that's fine. And when you're ready, come it out. So get ready to do the other side. Walking that leg back, bringing your left leg forwards, making sure that foot and ankle is under that knee. Got a nice right angle there. Maybe walking that back leg back a little bit more so you get a nice stretch here. Hands can stay on the floor or blocks. Breathing, looking forwards, making sure those shoulders aren't at the ears. You might be able to come up, hands onto knee, have a little wiggle around, get comfy. Nice deep breathing. And then if you like to take your arms up, you're welcome to join me there. You want your arms kind of next to your ears, reaching your fingers up to the sky. Two more breaths. And when you're ready, hands back onto the knee, and then walking them down on the floor. Remember this time inside your front leg. Welcome to stay there, or you can try and walk those forearms down to the floor. Pushing that front leg out slightly maybe. Still breathing, nice slow deep breaths, some deep stretches into our hips. When you're ready, walking those hands up, taking that leg back behind. So now we're going to have a little bit of a rest. So we want our feet together and our knees apart, getting ready for child's pose, Balasana. So you can have your hands behind when you go down, or you can have them out in front. If you're really struggling to get your bottom onto your feet, you could put a block underneath, a cushion there, blanket, whatever. So folding down, forehead onto the mat, you could put a block under your head, if that helps. Bring those hands behind, or if you'd like to open your shoulders a little bit, bring those arms in front, walking those fingers forwards. Lovely. So if at any point in our class you're finding you're struggling, you need a break, child's pose is a great pose to come down into and just rest. Allow your body to feel how it feels. Maybe you can walk those fingers a bit further forwards. When you're ready, back up into that tabletop position. So now we're going to get ready for our first downward dog. I want you to spread your fingers nice and wide, that weight really evenly spread across those hands. You want your knees slightly behind your hips. If you've not done a downward dog before, please watch me first before joining in. I'm going to tuck your toes under. I want our knees to stay bent because it's our first down dog. So we're going to push our bottom up into the air, keeping those knees bent, making sure your feet are hip width apart, and really push that body and those arms into the floor, away from the floor. Breathe in, nice flat back. I don't want to see any of this rounding. You can start to pedal out those feet, so you might take your left heel to the floor and bend your right knee. Right heel to the floor and bend that left knee. You can do that as slow as you like. You might speed up a little bit, get a bit of warmth in those legs. You can turn your head side to side, get some movement in that neck. Wiggle those hips. Just a little bit of movement, sometimes a bit nice. And then when you're ready, back down into your child's pose. So toes together, knees apart. Perhaps this time you're going to rest your arms behind, having just worked them. Couple of deep breaths. How does your body feel after that first downward dog? Any difference here? It's okay if there isn't any. When you're ready, we're going to come up. This time we're going to perhaps see if we can straighten those legs a little bit. Try and get those heels towards the floor. It's okay if they don't go. A lot of people's don't. So spreading those fingers, walking those knees slightly behind the hips. And up. So pedaling those feet to begin with. Pushing those hips up to the sky. Maybe seeing if you can straighten those legs. Push those heels towards the floor. Now, if you would like to have a look, you can see I'm in a kind of a nice triangle pose. So, triangle shape, downward dog. This is a really good posture. It works our arms, shoulders, wrists, back, core, legs, hips. Everything's working hard here. Right, now we're going to take it into a three-legged dog. So we're going to lift our right leg up to the sky, keeping those hips facing down, flexing that foot, really pushing with those arms. And we're going to work that hip a little bit. So we're going to bring that foot to the base of our spine and open that thigh up. You should really feel that in your hip. If you need to come out and have a look, that's fine. If you need to come down into child's pose, that's fine. Best way I can describe this one in a funny way is like a dog peeing up a lamppost. When you're ready, lower in that leg. Have a bit of a wiggle if you need it. And get ready for the other side. So lifting that left leg, flexing that foot, three-legged dog. Then bringing that heel to the back, bottom of your back, opening that thigh, peeing up that lamp post. Really working those upper arms, wrists. Might be able to get a straighter leg here, if not that's fine. And then lower that down. Coming down into your child's pose for a rest. Have those arms in front or behind. Just take a breather. Amazing. That was tough, well done. And coming up, when you're ready, we're going to get ourselves into a standing position. So the way to do that is through our forward fold, which is Uttanasana. So back into your tabletop, walking right foot forward, using your hands if you need to. Coming onto those fingertips, walking that other leg in. So we want our feet hip width apart. You can have your knees bent. You can have a block either side to help you here, which I'm going to do because I'm really working on straightening my legs. So you can have hands on thighs, hands on shins, hands on blocks. If you're feeling really flexible and there's nothing stopping you, hands on the floor. Trying to get nice straight legs, make sure those hips aren't leaning backwards or too far forwards. Nice straight line here. You can have those knees bent if you need them. And you're going to slowly bring that body towards the thighs. You could have your blocks the other way round. See how far you can go. Really working those thighs, those legs, and your lower back. And when you're ready, you're going to walk those hands up your legs, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Head's the last thing to come up. Wonderful. So, I'm going to move my blocks out of the way, so make sure your mat's nice and clear. We're going to come into Tadasana, which is our mountain pose. So I want your toes together, little gap between your heels, rock back and forth on those feet, making sure your weight's evenly spread. Engage those legs, standing up nice and tall, roll those shoulders down and back, the palms can come forwards, and breathe. See how you feel standing up now. You could close those eyes, that can help your balance. Such a simple posture, this is really good for you. It's really, really going to work that posture, making us stand nice and tall, engaging those legs, core. Just breathe. So while we're standing, if at any point you need to rest, you can come back to this posture, Tadasana. Standing nice and tall, deep breaths. And we're going to get ready for our warrior two. So, taking our legs nice and wide. I find the easiest way to describe how wide you want your leg is to be looking at this inside of one of your legs. That length there is the length you're going to want on the floor. So, straight legs to begin with. Hips are facing forwards. You imagine those are lights and they're going forwards. Shoulders above those hips. So we're working our hips today, so really focus on keeping them forwards. You're going to bring your left foot in about 45 degrees. And you're going to take your right about 90. Your ankle should be in line with your heel from your front leg to your back leg, or perhaps the middle of that back foot. As you can see, my hips have already tried to veer off, so we need to make sure they're coming back forwards. We're going to inhale, bring those arms up so they're in line with our shoulders. And exhale, bend that front knee. Remembering those hips, keeping them open. Try not to lean too far forwards over that knee or too far back. You want those shoulders above those hips. If at any point your arms get tired, you could have them here on your hips. Just breathe. We're going to add a little bit of movement to really warm our body up now. So we're going to inhale, bring those arms up to the sky, straightening that leg. And exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more for me, inhale And exhale. You might find that you've warmed up a little bit, so you've gone a little bit deeper, so you might need to bring that front leg out a little bit more. Aiming for a nice right angle with that front leg. Hips still facing forwards, shoulders still above hips. If you've not got any neck injuries or problems there, you could turn and look along those fingers above the right knee. Keeping that body nice and tall. Squeezing that bum, that thighs. Everything's working hard here. You can roll those shoulders down and back, engage those shoulders. Warrior two. Really good for sciatica and back problems, working our legs, our arms. If you've got high blood pressure, this is quite a tough one, so you might find that you need to come out of it. That's absolutely fine. You've got your mountain to go back to. One more breath. Bring those hands to thighs and those feet back to the parallel, front forwards. Okay, ready for the other side. So walking one foot in 45, other foot out 90. Remembering heel to the other heel, hips facing forwards, don't let them sneak off. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bent knee, trying to get a right ankle. Knee over ankle, keeping this leg nice and straight. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. One more for me. Lovely. Checking our alignment, those hips are facing forwards, knee above ankle, shoulders above hips, arms out nice and straight. Making sure that knee's not going out or in. We want it straight in line with that foot. You turn that head over towards those fingers over that bent knee, opening those hips. Some lovely deep breathing, rolling those shoulders down and away from those ears. Lovely. When you're ready, hands can go back to those hips, feet back parallel, and we're going to get ready for a wide-legged forward fold. So if you have low blood pressure, in any sort of standing forward fold, you can try and keep your head up slightly. And if you do feel dizzy, do come up very, very slowly and have a drink of water. So this time we want our feet parallel facing forwards, hands on our hips, hips staying forwards. Remember, that's our focus today. We're going to inhale, you might gaze up, exhale, folding forwards, trying to keep a nice flat back. You have your knees bent to start with as you fold down. You might find that your hands can come to the floor. You might find that you need a block. Place those hands on. You might be able to straighten those legs. You might rock back and forth on those feet because we want our weight evenly spread, and fold down. You might be able to walk the hands back a bit further. And breathe. Make sure it's comfortable. Getting a nice stretch in the back of those thighs. When you're ready, you walk those hands over towards that left foot, bending that left knee. And you're going to get a nice stretch to the inside of our right thigh. Breathe. You might have a block here under your hands if that helps. And just do what's right for you. This class is here for you. And when you're ready, walking back to the middle, straightening both legs, bending that right knee, walking the hands over to the right foot. Nice stretch in the inside of that left thigh. Focusing on that breathing. When you're ready, slowly walking those hands back to the middle, rocking back and forth on those feet. Perhaps you can come down a bit deeper, perhaps you can't, and perhaps you want to bend those knees. Whatever works for you. You might have your head up still, preventing you from becoming dizzy. That's all fine. When you're ready, bend those knees, hands onto thighs, slowly one vertebra at a time, head's the last thing that comes up. Wonderful. You might need to give those legs a shake, working them well there. So we're now going to look at our dancer pose, which is a nice balance. If you really struggle with your balance, don't worry, I'm going to talk you right through it. So I'm going to turn this way so you can see me on your mat. It's up to you which way you want to face. If you've got a chair or a wall, you could use that to lean on if you really do struggle with your balance, or just to start with, it's a good way to practice this pose. So we want our feet parallel, hip width apart, hips still facing forwards. You can bring your hands onto your hips, take a deep breath. We're going to do our right leg. So to begin with, putting all your weight onto your left foot, step that right foot back, tiptoes on the floor. You could stay here, that's absolutely fine. You're still putting all the weight onto that left foot, still balancing, engage that core. The next step, I'm going to grab the wall just to begin with, to show you how it's done. Grabbing that right ankle with that right hand. Bringing that knees in line, you could stay here for a little bit. That's going to be a nice stretch down that front of that thigh. You might be able to start pushing that leg away. So pushing that foot into that hand and that hand into that foot. You're going to get a nice stretch in that hip. You can stay here with the hand on the wall or chair, or you could come away and you could perhaps bring that left arm up to your ear. You might be able to fold forwards ever so slightly, still pushing that hand into that foot and that foot into that hand. Nice stretch into that hip. Try and keep your hips equal. You might have your standing leg straight, you might have it slightly bent. Either is fine. And breathe. You might still be here. That's absolutely fine as well, to be here in that nice stretch. And when you're ready, bring that foot down onto the floor. Have a wiggle if you need it. Working those hips hard today. So, other side. Bringing all that weight into that right foot. Tiptoes with the left foot, you can bring it back behind you. And have your hands on the chair or a wall. Deep breath. Taking your left foot with your left hand. And bring your knees together. You might inhale, bring your right arm up to your ear. And you might be able to bend forward slightly. Now, if you have a strap, you could perhaps use a strap around your ankle to hold onto that there. I don't actually have one, I've just ordered one, so hopefully next time I'll be able to show you. Breathing. Try and look forwards. I tend to find I look down and then I'm not going to get the same opening in my chest as if I was looking forwards. And when you're ready, release. A little wiggle. Beautiful dancers. Okay, so we're going to make our way down to the floor. So coming to the end of your mat, we're going to do our forward fold, Uttanasana. So feet hip width apart, hands into prayer. Deep breath. Inhale, arms up to the sky. You might look at your fingertips. Exhale, swan dive down with those arms. Hands can be on thighs, shins, floor, blocks. Just there for a minute. You might bring your hands to your elbows, like so, and just rock from side to side. Release that lower back. Your knees can be bent. Try and bring that body towards your thighs. Wonderful. When you're ready, bringing those hands to the floor, we're going to go back into our downward dog just to get into our other postures. So very brief down dog. Toes to the back of the mat. If that's difficult to go from that forward fold, you can come down onto your knees and then go up into your downward dog. So we're going to do pigeon. So three-legged dog, right leg to ceiling. And we're going to bring that leg to the front of our mat next to our hands. So it's our shin and thighs up here. If you find that you're wonky and your hips aren't parallel, you can put a block under that bottom just to help you sit nice and straight. So you can stay here. This could be our beginning posture. If this is really, really difficult or painful for you, which some people it just doesn't work for, you can come onto your back, reclined pigeon, bring that right ankle onto that left knee and bring that knee in for a hug. And you can do that on both sides. If not, we're in our pigeon. Straightening that back leg out behind us. We can have our block underneath. And if you want to, stay there, or you can bring your forearms to the floor. You might place a block to rest your head on. You might even be able to reach down to the floor. So a really nice deep stretch into that hip. And take some nice deep breaths, breathing into that. If you'd like another step, you can come back up. You're going to take your left arm round behind you and grab that left leg. This is going to be a really deep stretch into that left front hip flexor. You can really twist your body round, opening that chest. Deep breaths. You come out at any point. Be in any position that suits you today. It's okay if sometimes you can do this and sometimes you can't. That happens to all of us. It's absolutely fine. See where you are today. When you're ready, slowly release that back leg down. Going back round to the front. Move any blocks out of the way if you need to. We're going to go quickly into our down dog. So spreading those fingers. Bum up to the sky. Have a wiggle if you need it. Taking that left leg up into your three-legged dog, and then bring that foot to the front of the mat in between those hands. Putting your back leg back and straight. Be having a block under that hip. It could be here, or you might be on your back doing the other position. You might have found it was fine the other side, but this side not so much. It's absolutely fine, whatever works. It could be here. You could be forearms on the floor. You could be head on the floor. You could be head on the block. And breathe. Nice deep breaths. Nice deep stretch. Making sure those hips are parallel. You're not leaning over to one side. If you'd like to go to the next stage with me, you could walk your hands up. Right arm to right foot. Opening that chest. Nice deep breaths. You'll feel a nice stretch in here. When you're ready, slowly lowering that foot back down to the floor. Alright, one final down dog. Lots of down dogs today, working hard. So, back into that tabletop position. Spreading those fingers, knees slightly behind the hips, toes tucked under, pushing bum up to the sky, and we're going to do our squat. So, we want to take our feet about as wide as our mat, depending how long your legs are, you might need to go a bit wider, and walking those hands towards your feet. You're going to squat your bottom down to the floor, elbows against thighs to push open, sitting there. So I'm just going to turn the other way to show you, if you can't see that. Okay, nice deep squat, pushing those legs apart with those hands in prayer. If this is not comfortable for you or doesn't suit, you're welcome to sit down, bring those feet together and walk them in towards your body. You could have blankets or blocks under the knees. This is our butterfly. You could have a little flap. Lovely. So you've got two options there, your squat or your butterfly. just opening those inside of those thighs and working those hips. A couple of nice more deep breaths there for me. Keeping that chest nice and open, no rounding of the shoulders. Lovely. So when you're ready, whatever position you're in, come and sit down. Take a couple of deep breaths. And we're going to come and lay down. So if you need a block, you can have one to put under your head, especially if you've got any neck injuries. It does help you lay in a straighter, more better alignment. So I'm going to lay down. If I can actually get the block under my head. So we're going to do our happy baby pose. So if you need to watch, feel free to sit back up and have a look. So we're going to bring our knees in for a hug. You could rock side to side, do some circles, just release that back out a little bit, whatever feels nice. And then we're going to grab the outside of our feet and bring our knees into our shoulders. Happy baby. Last final stretch on those hips. Nice deep breathing. Done really well today, guys, well done. You might rock around a little bit in your happy baby. Hopefully you're smiling. This pose always makes me laugh a little bit. It's okay if you're not, just feel what you feel. When you're ready, slowly lower those feet down to the ground, taking those legs out nice and straight. Try and make sure your spine is in a nice straight line. You might lift that head up and release it back down, moving those shoulders away from the ears. To finish off, we're going to just do a nice spinal stretch on our spine. So bringing your right knee in, give it a hug, leaving your left leg out nice and straight. You're going to take that left knee, right knee even, over to the left. Spinal twist. You can have the arms up in line with your shoulders. If you find that knee doesn't quite reach the floor, you can put a block under there or a cushion. Try and keep the shoulders on the floor. Your chest should be nice and open, so take some nice deep breaths. Getting that wonderful oxygen in. Letting our energy flow. Two more breaths. And when you're ready, slowly rolling back to the centre, taking that leg out straight. So we're going to bring our left leg in, give it a bit of a hug, and then walk it over to the right. You could support it with your hand. You have your arms up in your crucifix position. Nice spinal twist. Lovely and relaxing and calming way to end a class. Keep breathing. When you're ready, walking that leg back over to the centre. Coming into Savasana corpse pose. Feet nearly as wide as your mat. Hands down at your sides, palms facing up. Nice straight alignment. Now you're welcome to stay here and relax for as long as you like. Maybe find a meditation to do or put some calming music on, whatever feels right for you today. If not, you can bring your knees in, take them over to the right and roll over with me. Coming back into our easy pose as we started. Put that block underneath, sitting up nice and tall. Couple of deep breaths. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to send me them. I'm just going to end the class with my little singing bowl. So thank you so much. Namaste.